Hey, Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome to Civilization 7 as Ada Lovelace. We're going to be playing Russia, and I only just realized that I had decided to do a world conquest as Russia, which is probably not the greatest look, considering, well, you know, world politics. Optics aside, I kind of want to do a world domination. You know, I did like a religious world domination, although annoyingly, Bactria did get converted. There's like a few cities around here that they managed to deconvert right before the end of the age, which is fine, right? Cusco became atheist, all that sort of stuff. So like, let's do a world dom, right? Let's just torture ourselves, okay? Now, there's a lot we can talk about with these. Oh goodness, I don't like that the back of the map is scrolling with. That's not what that's meant to do. Hold on. There we go. Okay, now it's working better. Oh god, what was going on there? So we could either gain infantry and range units in all of our distant land settlements, which is quite good. On the other hand, the land of opportunity, okay, if we look at him in distant lands, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 distant land settlements. That represents an absolutely massive potential. And so I really like the idea of maybe taking the land of opportunity here, getting a huge boost to our settlement production, which will give us a massive... Now, I wonder, does this apply to settlements that I conquer? Because if it applies to settlements that I conquer, it's even better. Now, another thing that we want is if we're going to go conquering, we want to go down the right side of the militaristic tree. We're going to want to ignore the unhappiness penalty from unrest in captured settlements. We're going to want the settlement limit and the commanders get a free level. Those are all going to be super useful. So I'm going to grab myself 2 militaristic attribute points so that we can get down to the ignoring the unhappiness penalty from unrest in captured settlements, which means settlements won't go into unrest when we capture them, which is really useful. Now we have to choose, do we want to get a massive amount of gold to kickstart the age, or get a bunch of culture? And I think the extra gold is really sick. Also, 88 culture is insane. This is probably worth in the order of like 400 to 500 gold. This is worth like 100 culture per turn, which means we could rush our ideology. And if we're going on a world domination, we could either go communism or fascism. Fascism for the golden production in our cities, communism for the happiness. I can't remember which one gives happiness, but we could do something like that. I think I'm going to go with the huge culture boost because this is such a strong kickstart to the culture. And then I'm going to go for maybe a... Do I want a diplomatic or a military espionage? Well, I guess it might be nice to get the +1 influence per age on the palace. It's +3 influence, which would help us with our... Diplomatic influence is going to be an issue for us. So I'm thinking maybe we grab a diplomatic attribute point here. Or do we want to get the cultural attribute point and lean more heavily into culture from specialists, for example, over here? I think the diplomatic point is nicer because it's harder to get diplomatic influence and I need it. Now, science on sawmills and grist mills is actually kind of insane. That's +4 science in every city that can build them, at least. But we're going to need so much money this age. Like, if we took 2 economic points, we could easily get down to 15% gold purchasing. So I think I'm going to take at least 1 economic attribute. Oh, wait, no, I think I'm going to take the 2 economic attribute points because they're going to be useful. And then I think lyceums here, +3 science per turn for each quarter. Basically, every time you build 2 buildings on a tile, we'll get 3 science, which is insane. That's going to allow us to rush to the end of the tech tree. Now, do we want to turn Parsa or Chichen Itza into the capital? So let's have a look at that. So we could make Parsa into the capital, or we could make Chichen Itza into the capital. I think I'm going to make Chichen Itza into the capital. So Chichen Itza will become St. Petersburg. We're going to confirm these legacies. So we've got a basic plan, we've got a basic strategy. Now let's actually fill out these points, right? So on the diplomatic side of things, I'm going to take this because I want the +3 influence per turn. That's going to be helpful. It's a small amount, but as we conquer cities, we're going to take penalties to our diplomatic influence. And so a +3 will start to look a lot nicer. Now on the economic side of things, I do think that +2 gold for every tech and civic mastery is great for Ada Lovelace because that's something we're going to want to do. But then the +1 gold on resources in towns, or +2 in distant lands, is actually really useful too. That's going to give our economy just like a nice strong baseline gold. And then I'm going to use my wild card to get the 15% gold purchasing in all settlements because that is just a multiplier to all the gold that we have. I wish I had some expansionist points, but we will try to get those eventually. On the militaristic side, we definitely want to go for the ignore unrest in captured settlements. And on the scientific side of things, I think just getting the 10% science here is great. We have pretty much this entire tree unlocked except for the alliance thing. But I don't really go for alliances, so it's not really a thing to worry. Now, when you come through to a new age, your towns tend to grow because well, I guess this is what happens, right? The amount of food required to grow goes down. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through our towns and we're going to be prioritizing production actually, rather than growth, because we're gearing up towards warfare. And we already have really strong growth in a lot of these towns. So pretty much anything that gives us production is a priority. We also need to get our resources online. Those are pretty important. So Jambi, you have grown. There's a nice production tile there. And Kapa. Thuthis Hotway. Timothy Chalamet's home is ready. So Bach and St. Petersburg are cities right now. We need to start making some decisions about like what's going to be a town, what's going to be a city, all that sort of stuff. Now, if you ask me, I am tempted to turn everything into a city, but the part of the problem with that is we did actually go down the sort of town specialization side of the expansionist tree. So there's a disadvantage of doing that. So I think in terms of conquest, we're going to start with our home continent. Although there is a big advantage of the distant lands. The home continent, you know what, we're not gonna commit to anything. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to buy a settler and I'm gonna find out if the +10 production applies to newly founded settlements in the new world or distant lands or whatever. Happiness is definitely going to be a problem that we will need to deal with in our cities. So I think happiness buildings are going to be an important priority for us. So I'm going to start with a city park in Bach, and I'm probably going to do the same thing in St. Petersburg. There's a +6 happiness over here, which is great because we are going to start going over our housing limit, our city limit soon. Oh boy. I'm going to unlink all of my resources to start this age off, and then we'll start going through and we'll do some optimizations. I have so many resources. I would love an unassign all. Okay, so starting with our cities, the first thing that we are going to want is production. We need a lot of production to kickstart this age. So I'm going to park a whole bunch of whales in St. Petersburg. That's 24 extra production for St. Petersburg. And then in Bach, I'm going to put 2 copies of wine. That's going to be 8 food, 8 production. I'll leave all these city resources unassigned because they're going to give us 3 food and 3 happiness. And we can't assign factory resources right now. So there we go. That's the start. And now we need to think about, do we want to assign our towns? I wish I could hide cities. Assigning whales to towns would get us 6 gold per town, which I think is worth placing. Now the question is it worth it to assign some of these other resources, or is it better to get the yield bonus when unassigned? Anything that gives production, I think, is worth assigning to towns. But otherwise, I actually think we prefer these to be unassigned for the extra gold. So I think that's the correct way to assign this since we're going militaristic. We could pop in here to pick up academics. Getting the Oxford University would give us a great kickstart into the age, but I'm probably going to go academics into military science just because we already have a boost for this. Then on the civic side of things, we have a boost for the social question, and I would not mind building the Dogo Onsen as a kickstart to the age. We do have a production boost towards the Hermitage. But yeah, I think starting with a couple of wonders is not a terrible thing at the start of the age. I'm going to take culture from food buildings and culture on marine terrain, and then I'm going to take culture on happiness buildings. So our culture will go from 305 to 625. So that's a huge culture gain right at the start of the age. I think our first target for conquest is going to be Xerxes, aka Jerxes. He's a jerk. So I'm going to start moving in that direction. Oh, not with you though. You're the garrison commander. I'm going to put you into St. Petersburg. Your job is to, you give production boosts towards the units in that city. So Bach has low happiness. That's understandable. We get to choose a government now. I think if we're going for a world domination, authoritarianism is the play. 30% production towards military units and +3 combat strength for units. That's going to be a really flexible bonus. It'll allow us to build up our army and then make our army more excellent. So I'm going to be disbanding Kumasi. Pang San, I'm definitely going to be befriending. Any militaristic city-states, I'm going to be looking to prioritize. Economic as well are really good, but to start with militaristic ones, because they give me access to something that a lot of other city-states can't, which is combat strength bonuses. So I could just sail a ship up here and clear this without any real fuss or muss, thanks to the dispersing independence bug. Now, we do have the extra yield from specialists, but we're not going to be placing specialists for a little while. And we also have academics in the Oxford University. So those are the 2 wonders that we were looking to build. So my capital could build the Oxford University. Where do we want to place this? Building it right here would be quite nice, as it would boost 3 tiles that already have urban centers on them. So let's get that Oxford University. It's going to take us 11 turns. And I can't remember how to build the Dogo Onsen. One moment. Must be placed adjacent to coast. That's a bit of a problem because I don't have any coast here. I wish you could place wonders down in existing quarters. So let's prioritize getting our productive tiles in this city. Now we could go for electricity if we wanted to get a lot of science, a lot of gold, all that stuff. But instead we're going to go for military science because we want that military academy because it'll give us extra production. Then we want the extra free level to the commander from that building as well. And this will lead us to industrialization, and rail stations give you production boost towards units as well. So this is going to lead us towards being able to spam the Katusha rocket launcher and pretty much just carpet the world in rockets, as I assume God intended. So Calakmul has 52 production. I'm kind of like thinking about which cities I want to convert. Like Waknabal does not have very good production, so perhaps it's better as a farming town so that it can boost the other towns that I have. So I'm going to convert it to a fishing town, but I'm going to leave it on growing for a little while. I'll quickly buy a grocer in here and a stonecutter just to complete it, right? This town is now completed. So this is going to be a farming town that's designed to feed our other cities. Let's choose a civic. We could go for serfdom here, and we do have a decent amount of tundra down here in the south that we could build a lot of these obscinas on. I think I would like to get living standards. The golden happiness towards maintaining buildings is going to be extremely useful for keeping our gold and happiness maintenance low. What do we want to build in St. Petersburg? So we have quite a few options here. +7 science is nice. I'm going to build a grocer on this tile because it gives a whole bunch of food and culture and +1 science because it's beside the palace, but it will also boost this district right here. So since we're not actually producing military units right now, I'm going to take the combat strength, and being able to produce culture buildings faster right now could be quite useful so that we could crack out a couple of quick culture buildings. I'm going to drop a ship of the line here who's going to disperse Kumasi so that we can settle another city right here, and we can kind of see if it starts with that extra production that we were thinking about. Okay, we're going to settle our settler right here. Here is Kazan. In Kazan, we're probably going to prioritize growth, in particular the fishing tiles. So let's start with a fishing key in here. Then I think it makes sense to get a granary. The food and culture is amazing. I think it also makes sense to get the grist mill and the sawmill. And then I would like to get the brickyard and the saw pit. The question is Kazan getting converted into a town? I needed to check. Oh shoot, I forgot to check where the production was coming from. So 12 from buildings +10. Okay. Wailuku, where's your production coming from? Buildings and improvements, okay, and then there's another 10. Parsa, where's your production coming from? 23. Okay, so newly settled cities do get the extra production, which means conquering the new world could be really valuable. And it means converting towns to cities over here is actually really strong because they're going to have that +10 production. So that's going to serve as the baseline of our plans to convert a lot of these distant lands places to cities because they just have +10 production over a normal place. So we'll convert Hilo right now, and I'm going to get started with the city park. We don't have particularly good tiles for the city park, so I'll just place it inland for the happiness. Okay, Kazan, you have grown. We will keep growing to these fishing tiles. I would like to input more money into you, but I'm going to hold off for a little bit just because I don't make an absolutely outrageous amount of money right now. 800 gold per turn is pretty modest. I'm going to bring this navy over to Xerxes' land. Now, Catherine the Great hates us, so I'm going to look forward to killing her. Ko is going to get converted to a city as well. We can build a city park. I will build a grocer in here to start. Wailuku is going to get converted to a city for 200 gold. I'll get started with a grocer in here as well. Kapa is going to be converted to a city for 700 gold. I'll get started with a grocer in here. Just getting that early into the age, getting growth running has a lot of value. I also think there's a little bit of value in settling a settlement right here. This could be a great fishing town. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in Wailuku. 6 turns from now, we'll go ahead and see if we can settle this. Just kind of filling out your empire. The thing about Civilization 7 is, the question is, do you want more cities in the final age? The answer is yes. Okay, somehow you already finished your grocer. Maybe I messed up. We could build a Dogo Onsen, but that's not the goal. Happiness in here is a problem. We ideally want to avoid placing adjacent to high quality tiles for other types of buildings. So I think here is fine. This is a triple resource adjacency. This is a really good coastal adjacency, so I'm going to place you right there. And we'll bounce the pop to a production tile. And we want to maximize our production in order to increase the amount of things that we get done this age. So there's modernization. Overbuilding is quite useful, but more importantly, we want living standards so that we can keep hitting our celebrations and have lots of gold, because gold is basically production that you can move around your empire. So I'm going to remove the production towards culture buildings because that's not what we're focusing on. Instead, we're going to plug in living standards. So we'll go from 633 gold to 723 gold. So that saved us about 100 gold per turn. In my opinion, 18 culture compared to 732. I'm going to go ahead and just accept this from J. Riz. I think he's basically wasting his influence. So there's modernization. Emancipation reform is actually quite strong. 15% production, but minus 15% growth. We could do a lot with that. +1 gold on districts and cities is pretty okay. Culture on cities and tundra. Westernization, science minus culture, immune from blizzards, +5 combat strength in tundra, 1% culture for every city, or 2% of the cities in tundra. That's quite good. A lot of these Russian civics are quite powerful. They're not amazing. They're nothing we want to build our build around. I think we're just going to rush our ideology. The city of Jambi has grown. I'm going to grab this citrus right here. Thera has erupted, adding a little bit of food to different tiles. The city of La Hyena has grown, or rather the town of La Hyena. It could be a city. It's not a terrible city because it is on the distant lands. I want to make Kahului into a city, and then we're going to get started on a grocer because we want that city to get its growth line. These new cities, it's good to get a little bit of growth in them. St. Petersburg has finished its construction. I don't know what it was. We could build the Hermitage. I don't think we necessarily care about the schoolhouse. I wish I could like right click the schoolhouse to mark it as something I don't want to build in this city. I'm going to build the Hermitage for the sake of building it because I think wonders are genuinely quite useful to build. The city doesn't really have a production tile, so I'll grab this mountain. Oxford University has been completed, which is awesome. This will give us a huge boost to our science. I still wish I could look at what the city, like what the wonder did while you were on the wonder screen. And somehow we also finished the Hermitage. I don't know how we like one-turned the Hermitage. That's kind of confusing. It's because we have the Kunas. Those crazy things from the start of the gate. Well, that is so overpowered. Holy crap. I had no idea it was that overpowered. I knew they were overpowered, but we've unlocked military science. Parsa should have been a city because it has that special building. So yeah, we'll be making Parsa into a city. We got a narrative choice. So our goal is to build a launch pad. Interesting. So I think my goal is to do the economic, military science, and culture goals all at the same time. I'm going to try and do every single victory condition. Iwa has grown. Let's grab this nice production tile. Happiness in cities is actually quite powerful, but I am trying to save money to befriend militaristic city-states. I did see another one somewhere, like there's one in Hamdolahi and Bucharest. I'm worried about the AI clearing them, so I'm going to start befriending them now, and I'll pump maybe 1 or 2 extra influence rounds into Hamdullah, because the more of those militaristic city-states I get control of, the better. Now we're going to go for industrialization. We want that rail station and the tier 2 units. I'm going to quickly grab the natural history. I'm going to quickly grab the natural history mastery, because that's going to give us +6 production, +6 science in every single city that we have, and we have a lot of cities. Okay, my capital Bach has grown. We could build the Red Fort. So right now this is a +3 adjacency tile for production. This is a +3 adjacency tile for production. This is a +2. This is a +3. So we want to try and make a really high adjacency tile for production if we can. +4 adjacency is about as good as I could ask for. So I'm going to build the Red Fort right here so that when we start putting down our production buildings on this tile, they'll scale really strongly off the citizens in there. And preemptively, as part of this strategy, I'm going to put specialists on this tile so that when we build the production buildings here, they will have really good scaling already. St. Petersburg's could build the ironworks for 12 production. I'm going to place it adjacent to the palace, because if we put another building there, that would give us an opportunity. Parsa definitely needs to get its ironworks as well. This city could probably use help. It will probably be a little bit slower to develop than other places. Narrative choice, we get a line infantry from this city-state. That's amazing. Kazan has grown. Let's grow to the horses. We're just generally trying to make sure that we keep this place growing. It needs a lot of gold injected into it before it becomes really viable, so it's not a priority for us right now. Okay, explorers can use the excavate artifact action. That's excellent. That's going to give us a huge boost to our science across our empire because it's a mastery civic. I'm going to grab political theory so we can start working on our ideology. Coming into St. Petersburg, we want our military academy, and we want a tile with good adjacency bonuses and good adjacency potential. I think the minimum that we would take is a +2, but we would love a +3 or 4. There's a +2 tile up here, and I don't think we can improve that much further. There's a +2 down here. Yeah, I'll take this +2 right here in between these two resources. I think that's fine. My settler has been completed, so I'm going to go ahead and start settling. I'm going to spend 300 influence to speed up the befriending of Hamdullah, so it'll take 18 turns now instead of the 30-ish. Timothy's house has grown. I'm going to keep focusing on just spreading the borders around right now at this time. This is another city that also needs a huge injection of gold, so it might be good for us to come in here and, for example, let's get the granary. Let's get the grocer. That's worth a lot of growth. And then maybe the brickyard. The saw pit is less good. Again, I wish I could hide buildings that I don't necessarily feel like I need to build. But by cramming a lot of resources into this city, we make it better. right? We built a big line of districts there. Let's settle this settler in Astrakhan. We'll grab the fish. We'll grab... Oh, I actually forgot about the Bermuda Triangle. It's going to give this city a lot of growth. So the fishing quay that we would like to build is going to go right here. Astrakhan needs some gold injected into it as well. So we're just going to need a lot more money over the course of this age as we set up our baseline economy for warfare. That's what we're working towards. We're working towards building up a really strong military capability. Wak Kab now has grown. I'm going to prioritize the production tiles because that's a little bit of extra gold. I need gold to develop my empire. I'm going to grab the sugar because that's worth 3 gold per turn when unassigned. I'm going to move towards this iron, or sorry, not the iron, the oil and the coal here that we want to pick up in Kazan. Hilo is ready for orders. I would like to get the grocer and the ironworks in here. So I'll place the grocer over here. That's going to give us growth. I might prefer to build the ironworks first. So I'll put an ironworks right there and put it to the top of the queue. Production is better in my opinion. And then I'm going to queue up the military academy. Ooh, this is a +3 military academy tile, and that's excellent. I'm going to place that higher than the grocer as well because our goal is to get production first. Now, Ko needs to build both its military academy and its ironworks. It has a +14 right here. That's 3 adjacency and the specialists. I'm going to prioritize that. It's a great tile. And then I'm going to build the ironworks right here. It's fine. And I might even go for the Dogo Onsen in here once these are done, because if we can make this a +4 tile, that has a lot of value in the long run. Sort of if we imagine the timeline of history is infinite, anything that gives us bonuses is infinitely good. So political theory is completed. We love the social policy slot. The Doi Suthep is not necessarily really important. However, that +4 influence is actually really useful in a militaristic game, so it might be worth it for us to consider building that. In order to secure my celebrations, I'm going to take the happiness here because our culture is really strong, but I want to make sure that I'm constantly getting happiness. Getting celebrations, because that's going to increase the number of social policy cards that we can plug in. Now we need to talk about our ideology. When it comes to warfare, I do think that democracy is the weakest because it takes away your gold and your production. It does give you... There is something about democracy that's really strong. Getting happiness from specialists allows you to basically ignore the settlement limit. That is the really strong part of democracy. Fascism, on the other hand, hurts your food and happiness in towns, which does mean you get less from those towns, but the ability to centralize your production and gold is insanely strong. The negative happiness can lead to a lot of really bad situations, but the problem is you get up over here and then you get 50% production in all military units. You get 20% production towards buildings and improvements in cities with a rail station. You get +5 combat strength for all units when attacking. Communism is pretty good if you want to grow pretty heavily. I definitely think communism is sort of more of a defensive style. It's more turtley. I think the real power of democracy is being able to ignore the settlement limit. But the power of fascism is that +5 combat strength when attacking. That just becomes really, really difficult to argue with. So since we're going for a world domination, I do think democracy or fascism are both really good choices for world domination. I've already kind of, you know what, let's do a democracy world domination because I've already done a fascist world domination. The amount of gold in production you get from this is just way too strong, though, is the problem. Yeah, I'm going to go with fascism here. I will be able to ignore the settlement limit anyway, but having an insane amount of happiness could be really strong. Being able to truly ignore the settlement limit is so good. Yeah, I'm gonna go with fascism. It's just the best one at war. In Kapa, we want to get our military academy and our ironworks. From a military academy point of view, up here this is a +3 military academy tile, so I'm gonna place that there. That's a great production tile. And then the ironworks, I'm just gonna schlock that down there for extra production. I'm gonna take free speech so that it's easier to maintain my specialists. That's gonna save me on some happiness and food. Once we transition to fascism, we'll be plonking down a lot more specialists. Tarsus could probably be a really good fishing town. We may want to consider that as an option. Bactria has grown. Do I want Bactria to be a town or a city? Well, that's a great question. St. Petersburg has completed its production. I forget what that production was. It's over 100 production per turn. I think building the Doi Suthep is not bad here. +4 influence per turn. Again, it doesn't sound like a huge amount, but it actually adds up over the course of an age. So we'll get that underway. And now we can start building the military academy production vortex, right? We can start stacking specialists in on this tile. Right now it's only +1 production per specialist, which, you know, the maximum potential there is +3 in total, but it only costs us 1 food and 1 happiness. So it's actually pretty efficient. I'm going to plug in Miracles of the Twins because we do want that +3 combat strength against wounded units. And right now we're kind of more concerned with culture. So I'm going to take humanism to pop out maximum amounts of culture so we can finish the fascism tree, so we can start doing our Russian civics, all that sort of stuff. So there's the Red Fort. Amazing. We finished industrialization, which basically finished that wonder for us. The power of that is actually insane. It's kind of ridiculous. So where do we want to put our military academy in this city? Well, we did talk about right here. This is a +4 adjacency tile, which is very strong. So let's put our military academy right there. We also do need to think about where do we want to put the ironworks, ideally on tiles that don't have very good adjacency. So like down here doesn't have much adjacency, a lot of good adjacency in and around here. This has like a little bit of adjacency, but nothing really too bad. So we'll plot it right there. So the modernization of Russia is well underway. You might call it a 500-year plan. So Pangsan has become our suzerain. Commanders earning double experience would be amazing. Let's have a look. So we get United Front, combat strength for infantry, cavalry, naval units. Artillery master is combat strength for ranged and siege units. Ideological warfare is commander production, or commander experience rather. The shore battery provides +5 production, +3 ranged combat strength, and +1 range to ranged and siege units on the tile, +5 healing, counts as fortification, must be placed adjacent to coast. This is quite powerful and really cool. So speaking personally, cavalry are going to be a really important part of what we do. So I'm going to grab United Front. Hamdullah is growing to be my friend quite quickly. I'm going to try to befriend Bucharest next, because if you can get 3 militaristic city-states, you're starting to look really strong. Parsa, the city of Parsa needs orders. And I think the military academy is going to be a really important part of our strategy here because of the 10%, or because of the production rather. There's a +3 tile over here. I think I will take this +3 tile. I'm also going to take industrialization 2 for the +1 production in mines and woodcutters. That's going to help just crank out A, golden towns, and B, production in cities. So let's keep developing our foreign assets here. We've got Kazan. There's a +3 production tile right here. It's got 3 resources adjacent. So let's build that brickyard. Let's build that saw pit. I need the stonecutter and the ironworks to go down somewhere. Here is fine. We're slowly developing Kazan into a extremely powerful location. It's got really good growth at the current blush. Kalakmul has grown, so let's keep growing to the production tiles. Parsa, let's have a look here. Parsa has grown, or rather it's finished its stuff. So I do think the grocer is really useful here. I'm going to place the grocer adjacent to the Kuna, because we want to surround the Kuna in quarters if possible. It does like being surrounded by quarters. And so I'm going to build a city park on that tile as well, purely to fulfill that goal. Then I want to build the rail station for the 8 gold per turn, and the 10% production towards training units, and I'll put it right there. City will be busy for a little while, but we will start to see a lot of dividends here. I'm going to place a specialist on the military academy to start building up our production vortex in that city. Kahului needs to build some of its basics here. Where does the military academy want to go? So the best I can do right now is a +2. There is a +2 with a specialist on it already, which is quite good. So we'll start the military academy there. I will place the ironworks on the tile to the southwest of that. Slowly but surely we build up an overwhelming production economy so that we can prepare for the explosive warfare that we're going to be pulling off. Okay, I forgot that I have a point. There's Doi Suthep. We finished fascism. So we don't care as much about humanism anymore. We're going to go for the 6 gold from specialists. That's production we can move around our empire. We're going to drop the culture on happiness buildings and instead bring in assembly line for the +3 production from specialists. That's going to jump our gold up, but more importantly, it's going to start paying dividends. So we need to have 30 military units within 20 turns. That's very doable. We only need 10 more. And we get a cultural attribute for building a bunch of wonders. I will spend my cultural attribute on culture from specialists. On the economic side of things, I think +1 resource capacity in towns will lead towards the +5% total gold. On the militaristic side of things, +1 settlement limit means we don't take happiness penalties as quickly. So I'm going to take that. And then with my wild card, I'm also tempted to get +1 settlement limit or take the 10% growth rate in cities. And then the 25% food is refunded when a city grows by adding a specialist could be really good too. There's a potential fishing town down here and I don't hate it. So coming into Tarsus, I'll buy myself a settler for the purpose of creating a fishing town. I find I get a lot of value from fishing towns, personally speaking, because the food is extremely useful. So now look at this, right? This tile right here, 3 production, 6 gold, 3 culture, 3 science, really strong. In my personal opinion, I really think that this assembly line and Dirigizme, I think this should be more like 3 production from specialists, -1 culture, -1 science from specialists, right? Like, we are not innovating. We are focusing on cranking out. And I think that would make a little bit more sense. Now that I've adopted fascism, I expect the relationships on the world stage to change. But in particular, I'm going to denounce Xerxes as soon as I've invested a second point into getting control of Bucharest. But right now, it's just not the priority. Yeah, Confucius is denouncing me, so I fully expect a lot of warfare to start breaking out soon. Now we could take a little bit of time to grab our Russian civics, so we'll grab serfdom next. And the reason we're doing that is because we have the time. Kind of. We don't need the +5 combat strength just yet, but I am going to take 30% production towards training military units for 15 turns. I have another specialist option here. I'm going to take land heritage. St. Petersburg is ready to get our rail station. And I want to put the rail station adjacent to the Kuna here, ideally. So I'll place it right there. We are going to want our empire connected up with railway. 3 free cavalry. That will soon be able to be turned into tanks. Wailuku has a military academy here. That's +4 adjacency. That's +4 adjacency, but this one already has specialists on it, so we'll go with that +4 adjacency. We're prioritizing production right now because production is an agentic resource, or in other words, it is a resource that gives you more agency. Ironworks is on the way as well, and then soon we'll get ourselves the rail station. I'll plop the rail station up over here as well. Okay, Xerxes has declared war on me, as has Confucius. Sorry, no, it was just Confucius. So our infantry units are stronger now. I don't think we'll have a problem defending against Confucius, but I will update the defensive fortifications in the city center of this tile. We get a scientific attribute point. We're going to be able to plug that in for 5% extra science. Awesome. Narrative choice wise, we get an artifact. Thank you for that. This is, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'm building my production buildings on this tile in the city of Hilo. So I'm going to put my specialists on there. In Tarsus, you have grown, getting that production. Jambi, you have grown, keep growing to the food. We want you to grow, 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 grow. Timothy's home, we'll keep growing you. We have the influence to support Bucharest. Okay, they wiped out one of my city-states, which is really annoying. We are going to want our opera houses eventually for the +3 influence, but right now we're not worried about that. Remember, influence is a military yield because you can use it for war support. So this is actually quite a high priority for us. But I think we would like to get our factories up first. So I'm going to research combustion, maybe even combustion mastery for the +1 production on production buildings. I'll grab an army commander in St. Petersburg. Tarsus. Are you going to get converted into a city, Tarsus, or are you going to be a fishing town? You have a really good baseline production, so I think you should be a city. So I'll pay to upgrade you to a city. And then in the meantime, let's get I'm going to put the ironworks here on this tile, sort of build our way out towards this flat desert. And yeah, grow to that production tile. Keep making that production. All right, let's vomit out our boats. And I'm going to declare a formal war on Xerxes now, so that we can begin training up our army commanders and clearing out their cities. It's a great way for us to level up our naval commanders. So we have access to the Obshina now, and we get +1 food on farms and towns. That's excellent. Kapa, I'm going to grab those whales. That's worth 6 production in one of our cities. Kazan has grown. Let's grab that oil. Cavalry units gain +1 combat strength. That's very powerful. Benjamin Franklin has stole some government secrets from us. That's fine. +1 gold on districts and cities. That's going to really help us with our gold per turn. Now, districts are a single building. Okay, so we're in the middle of an invasion in Jambi. I'm going to use my gold to get some more of these field guns and stuff like that to help defend the city. Barrage land target. Oh, that's an interesting choice. All right, we killed an enemy unit. Let's keep moving forward, see if we can't kill this guy. We'll slowly move our cavalry down to jump in on Hagmatana. All right, Kou has grown. Okay, Parsa, we want to keep building our production vortexes. Bak has grown. We definitely need to get our railway stations. Those are important. And we'll keep building up this production vortex. 5 production per specialist. It's really nice. I'm going to take the moment to upgrade this field cannon. This field gun will build fortifications so that it's a little bit better defended against any potential attacks. I'm going to settle a settler right here. Yes, I'm over my city limit, but the point of this city is to be a fishing town and nothing else. I have my fleet commander in position. We're going to use a barrage land target on the sepoy. That should get him dead. He will be dead as hell. Benjamin Franklin has joined communism. Interesting choice, Benji. The production vortex in Kou is completed. So let's make sure we get all our rural tiles up. This army commander is ready to level. And I'm going to take the +5% to all yields in a settlement when stationed on a district. And I'm going to position him into Bak in St. Petersburg, we're going to be recruiting a lot more army commanders. This is part of the plan to build an unstoppable sim. Right, good kill right there. Let's blast you. We're already landing on Hagmatana with cavalry to assault the city. And so now we just need to get ships of the line into position. I will use the coastal bombard coordination to damage the Hagmatana district. I think the district's defenses are destroyed, so we should be able to hit Hagmatana here in a moment. Astrakhan, you have grown. Let's grow to there. I'll spend a little bit of time bombarding these units. Now, it's a question of, do we want to keep Hagmatana or do we want to delete it? I can see an argument for both, honestly, for freeing up land to be resettled in a more sensible manner. The first things first, let's actually capture it. Okay, we've captured Hagmatana. It would take 18 turns to burn down. I think we're going to keep it, and we'll start moving our ships towards Hamadan. And now I can embark my land army over here. So we should find it relatively easy to kill Xerxes, and then even maybe come down here and take out these Chinese cities as well. I'm going to upgrade my units that are guarding the city of Kazan. I have a lot of money for that, so we have field guns protecting down here now. It's turn 25, and we have a pretty advanced military. We will have a more advanced military as time comes on, right? We're about to get combustion for tanks and stuff like that. Okay, excellent. The table of ranks. Let's +1 gold on districts and access to the Hermitage. Parsa is ready to grow. We're going to keep building the production vortex in Parsa. We also need to choose a civic. Production on farms for towns and tundra is nice. Also, it would give us a lot of science by doing that. Pull back this ship of the line to heal. We will heal this ship of the line as well and start pulling our ships forward. I like to keep my ships healthy so that we're never at risk of losing them, right? Losing a ship is kind of like losing your investment. And thanks to the sponsor, no, I'm just kidding. I would never do that to you. I'm going to take the +10 combat strength for the commander when defending. I like that one. Being able to upgrade as if you're in friendly territory, though, on leadership is actually pretty good, too. All right, we'll blast the sepoy, and then we'll use our 2 cuirassiers to get rid of this sepoy as well. That should kill him and take that tile. We didn't quite manage it. That's okay. We'll keep our field cannons sort of in position. My infantry over here took a pretty big hit from the sepoy. 41 damage on him. We're taking some counterattacks down around Hamadan as well. Okay, La Hyena has grown. Let's take the production tile so that we keep getting gold. Gold is very useful. In my capital back, or well, my old capital back, I want the +1 production. Sorry, the production vortex tile to start building up. The more production we have, the better. In Kusa, we have a look at the production of Kusa. Kusa could be a city, so I'm going to pay for Kusa to be developed. And I'm actually going to pay for like things like its stonecutter and its grocer as well. So I'll get the grocer right there. That's 29 food. Plus, I'll pay for the stonecutter. Plus, I'll pay for the ironworks. Then we just need to think about where the military academy is going to go. There's a +2 military academy up here. And then we're going to want the rail station as well. I'll put the rail station right up over here. So the city will be busy for quite a while, but it will have a really strong production line in the not too distant future. St. Petersburg has grown again. Keep building the military vortex on the military academy. Rostov-on-Don has grown. We just keep growing that town. I'll buy a Katusha rocket launcher. We can start doing some interesting things with that. I'll need some ships over here as well, so I'll need to buy some, but I'll move my ships of the line up. We'll get a minor victory due to the amount of oil we have. I do love the idea that I have an oil-powered ship of the line that's obliterating this other ship. Like, sir, the sailors are fueled by oil on this ship, and it's beating us. We need to manage this military adventure down here. I think killing this enemy ship of the line is the step 1. I'll pull you back for the purpose of eventually getting healed. I'll slip you up here. I will step forward with this cuirassier. You fortify that tile as we move field cannons into position as well. Let's even take this position. You're going to move forward and upgrade, because upgrading you makes you stronger. Move you forward, upgrade you. And let's come forward and actually kill this ship of the line finally. I think this is my fleet commander with the yield promotions. I'm going to take him to come back and protect and station in back for the +5 yields and the naval unit production boost. Okay, there's serfdom. That's going to give us production. It's going to give us there's combustion, so we have access to Cossacks and land ships and dreadnoughts. I'd like to plug in emancipation reform, but I don't know which of these abilities I would like to lose, so I don't want to plug it in yet. Kazan has grown. Let's grow to the coal. Katusha rocket launcher. I'm going to shoot this field cannon, and it should do serious splash damage to the nearby enemy units. Let's make sure we take out those field cannons. See if we can't kill this dreadnought with our ship of the line. I love that. I was able to attack and promote it. That was kind of overpowered. I managed to like confuse the UI. Coming into back, It probably is a good idea for us to build a grocer. I'm not fussed about that. That's not important to me. The port would be nice. And I think the port is the last thing that I'm going to build before I just start spamming like army commanders and military units. Another army commander has been completed here. I'm going to send this one to Kusa, and I will promote it with the Zeal ability. So he will lower happiness penalties in this city. St. Petersburg. Well, that's right. We need a lot of army commanders to fill out all of these cities. I'm going to get started on mass production. We're going to want the production from factories. The +1 settlement limit is quite welcome as well. I'm going to take mastery of the table of ranks. It's a civic, so Ada Lovelace's abilities will trigger off that with the extra science and stuff. Parsa, yeah, I think we do want our ports. 8 gold per turn doesn't sound like a lot, but it is pretty significant. And so now we can set this town up a little bit better. I'm going to grow to these mountain tiles so that we have excess happiness in here. Kazan, I would love to make you into a city. There's not much I can do with you. Most of my empire's capabilities is still being pushed towards increasing the total yields of my empire. Okay, Hamadan, let's attack once. Scooch down. We'll hit this ship of the line. That ship of the line is now dead. We can begin bombarding Hamadan. My fleet commander, you should have a level, right? Yeah, you do. We went for movement for the commander when packed. I'm going to go for better maneuver. Focus on filling out that maneuver tree. All right, field cannon, let's get you upgraded. We'll move you forward. We'll move you forward and upgrade you, step you in here. So we've reorganized our positioning a little bit. Blast this. I'm going to zip you back to safety, nip you forward, and promote you into a land ship. And so now our combat strength should start to really take off. Should I put another point into Bucharest? I think I will, to try and secure them. Kou has grown. Let's keep growing to the food tiles. Just keep that city grow, grow, grow. Kai Huli has so much growth potential. It's actually insane. But we do want to get these specialist tiles up. Timothy's house has grown. Let's keep focusing on the growth tile. Back has grown. Back has all of its basic stuff now. I'm going to need a lot of army commanders this age. Some of them are going to be acting as garrison commanders. I think what we would like, though, is to start getting the Katyusha rocket launchers. So I'm going to queue up a group of 6 of these to keep this town busy, because the Katyusha is really quite powerful, blasting enemy combat forces. Okay, let's barrage the land target of Hamadan, and then we'll bring up our dreadnoughts. I'll take a shot at this sepoy with each of my field guns, and then finish him with my land ship. This line infantry is going to be upgraded into a rifle infantry. This cuirassier is going to be upgraded into a tank. I'll bring this cuirassier back onto land to heal inside Hagmatana. I definitely need a army commander for this combat over here. This will probably be what the next army commander is for. But these army commanders, getting these army commanders into position early it basically means my cities will be taking an extra turn every 20 turns, but more importantly, they ignore a lot of the happiness penalties that we're going to get when we start expanding. Tarsus has grown. It's finished its production. So I would like the grocer. I would like the military academy. I would like the rail station. I'm going to start with the grocer. I'm going to place it right here. There's a +3 tile right here for science and production and that. So I think there is something to be said for building my rail station right here to get access to this tile to start putting down the production stuff. Wak Kabnal, I'm going to build myself. I want to finish this town, so to speak. I want to get my port, I want to get my rail station, and then I want to just plug it in Fishing Town. God, I love watching those rockets rain down on enemy ships. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see these guys like continuously firing at the thing that they killed. All right, field gun. I want you to bombard this sepoy. And then I'll use this field gun to bombard them as well. And I'll get my rifle infantry to finish them. Let's barrage land target. And then we'll take Hamadan. We're going to keep it too. It's going to be a great fishing town. Let's clear out this mortar. I'll step forward. I'll take a shot with my field cannon. We're going to go ahead and take Dead Reckoning. So we have the zone of control to naval units. We're going to take the +1 command radius so that my army commander basically acts as a big blocker for any enemy naval units. Table of ranks is ready. So culture districts on cities in the tundra. Science and culture, we get a settlement limit. I don't think these final 2 Russian civics are particularly good, so let's go ahead and finish off fascism. I could be wrong about those civics, but that's just the vibe that I get. I'm going to open up with a maneuver commander. What I want here is land units to ignore the terrain movement restrictions with this guy, so that we can have a mobile combat force. St. Petersburg, I could continue to produce army commanders. I think that is what I should do. We need quite a few more to garrison up our empire. In particular, we want them in our cities, not so much in our towns. It's a long-term investment. I mean, a lot of what we've done in this age so far has been very long-term investments. I love how the fleet commander is still in like a little wooden boat. Let's turn you into a ship or the ship of the line, and we're going to turn you into a dreadnought. Excellent. We'll take a turn to healing you. We're going to be moving up to Baghdad and then Ardabil. I think we should probably bring this tank with us when we go for Ardabil. But yeah, the goal is to kill Xerxes. I'm going to try to befriend Lisbon, as there's a lot of potential gold per turn from Lisbon, which will help alleviate some of the issues we might run into. Let's kill this sepoy. So he wants to piece me out. I'm afraid only your total and complete death will appease me. Iwa has grown, so we can just keep growing these tiles. This could make a really good fishing town, honestly, if we were to put the gold into it. Confucius has been spying on me, that's fine. Kapa has completed some of its constructions. I would like to get the rail station and the port in here. There's a +10 right here. That's a really nice port. All right, I've got my army commander in position in Kusa. I'm just going to fortify him. He exists there to lower the happiness penalty to the city, to give it a 5% yield boost, which will pay itself off in the very long term. So mass production has been completed. We have access to the cannery as well as the factory. Both of these buildings are very much so worth building. The cannery for that 10% growth rate, and the factory for the extra production. The factory will also allow us to make use of our factory resources for things like fish. Remember this, your factory resources apply to your entire empire. So this is just 5% more naval units everywhere, 5% more growth, extra healing, extra happiness, extra science, empire-wide bonuses. Very, very, very powerful. Parsa is ready to build its factory. There's an 18 production factory right there. The cannery is worth building, in my opinion, for the 10% growth. So we're going to park it right here. That'll keep the city busy for a couple of turns. Let's go ahead and pick up the mastery of combustion, production on production buildings, production on oil rigs, all going to be fantastic things. Hilo has grown. Sort of similarly, we want our rail station so that we can get the 10% production towards units. It pays off over time. The port is really good because of the gold per turn, which again helps us maintain our armies. And then the cannery allows us to grow, allowing us to scale super late into the game. So I think what we're going to start with here is the cannery. There's a 17 food cannery right here because there's specialists on this tile, so I'll put the cannery right there for now. I have another army commander that I can send to the front line, but instead I'm going to promote him with +5% yields. I'm going to send him to garrison Tarsus. St. Petersburg would like its factory, so I'll start producing the factory on the military academy, and then I'm going to go ahead and build the cannery adjacent to a wonder would be ideal, so like right over here, just to get that little bit of extra food. I've got 3,000 gold in the bank, so let's come down to Wak Kab now, and we're going to quote-unquote finish this town. I'm going to put the rail station right here, and we'll save up for the port. Let's bring our dreadnoughts to bear on these enemy units. The real offensive has not begun yet, right? I just want to be clear, we're still in the building phase. We're still building the army. The true attack has not begun. Kahului has grown. Not many more production tiles. There is a sort of question of, like, if we investigate this city, do we want to spam growth, which in of itself is not a completely terrible idea, or do we want to focus on getting these specialists for the crazy yields? I think continuing to grow isn't terrible. I think it's just like a style thing. Like, I don't think it is the correct move to continue growing. I think it is more fun to keep growing your cities so that you can have this overwhelming, massive, highly populated empire. I think it is better to actually do the opposite of what I'm doing. I think it's better to not focus on growth and instead focus on other things. Now, one thing I do need to do is to make sure I protect my city-states. So I'm going to bolster the military of Pangchang. And I'm going to move some ships of the line down here, as well as some Katusha rockets. Wak Nabal. Okay, we're ready to build your factory. We're ready to build your port. Excellent. I will just get me a port right here. This is perfectly acceptable. I can choose celebration. I'm going to go for the +3 combat strength for all units. That's really useful. I don't necessarily need the science. However, 15% production would be really good. I don't love the -15% growth, but 15% base production is extremely powerful. That is going to shave a lot of turns off of our projects. All right, we're up against some ships of the line. It should not be hard for us to clear this out. My little dreadnoughts should be doing the good work here. I'm going to promote my fleet commander. I'm going to take Brace, We have extra command radius. So not only are we going to zone of control everyone inside this command radius, they're going to do -3 on flanking attacks, which is really quite useful for keeping our armies healthy and providing us with a strategical advantage. So we don't care about radicalism because we don't have a lot of towns to benefit from this. Instead, what this civic is a bridge to getting absolutism for that +5 combat strength for all units when attacking. Once we have that, the war can really begin in earnest. All right, so whack Nabal. I'm going to build the factory right here. This city is now fully completed. There is a question if we want to keep growing in here. I mean, I'm not against it. Is it worth it is an important question. Probably not. The city already has 26 population. Yeah, I think it's time we turned Waknabal into a fishing town. I think that's perfectly reasonable. It's going to share its food with a bunch of nearby cities. I mean, honestly, it's sharing its food with my entire empire, which is far from ideal, but it's fine. The question is, do we want Kalakmul to also be a city? I mean, these are all the questions that we have to ask ourselves. We have killed off a bunch of enemy ships here. We're taking pretty hefty damage in these fights. That's fine. It's a part and parcel of the experience of playing Civ. So Benjamin Franklin has declared war on me. The Giga War has begun. Pachacuti has declared war on me. The Giga War has truly begun. So combat strength for cavalry units, production on production buildings, and production on oil rigs thanks to combustion. Tarsus is going really, really nicely. We were continuing to grow in here. But again, is that what we need? Is that what we want? It's 14 turns to grow in here. I think the city does need to keep growing. Okay, we can choose the city-state bonus. I do think artillery master or ideological warfare is really, really, really good. The partisan is incredible. +5 combat strength against civilizations with a different ideology. That's really cool. I think I'm going to go with ideological warfare, and I'm going to make sure to invest into Bucharest. I need to get some ships and stuff over here to assist the city-state, so I'm going to buy some land ships to get over here and protect. My city-states are in danger, and I'm not okay with that. Let's grab mass production too. This is going to give us food and food buildings, food and fishing boats. That's going to really help our empire to become more efficient with its fish. Bak has grown. Or rather, Bak has finished building its Katyushas. I'm going to send a Katyusha to St. Petersburg to protect it. I'm going to send a Katyusha to Kusa to protect it, because there are some units sort of flowing in here. Now, J. Riz here, I don't know what his ideology is. I don't know if he's picked one yet, but pretty much everyone hates me. Bak, we would like to get the factory because production allows us to build more things. We want the cannery because the 10% growth bonus is extremely powerful. We would like the grocer because the baseline growth is very powerful. So we have 3 buildings that we would like to build in here to build towards the future. I'm going to put it on this 15 production tile with the military academy. So we have a massive productivity tile. Kahului. Sort of similarly, we want the cannery. We also are going to want the port and the rail station to make sure my empire is connected up. So let's get started with the rail station. We'll put that right there. We'll grab the port on this tile. And then I'll put the cannery right here as well. Perfect. That'll keep this town busy for quite a while. Okay, Wak Kabnal has its factory, as does St. Petersburg. I'm going to start moving the whales out of St. Petersburg. And what we're going to put into St. Petersburg are fish. This is one of the strongest resources in the entire game. Now, what it says that it does is +5% settlement growth rate. What it actually does is that it reduces the cost to grow population by 5%. So 2 fish is actually like an 11% population growth rate bonus, right? Because minus 10%, you're growing in 90%, it's 11%. Which means 5 fish is actually like a 33% growth bonus in your empire. 10 fish doubles the growth in your empire. So fish are incredible. It's going to be a very important resource that we get our hands on. Fish. We're going to be prioritizing fish in a lot of different areas to make sure that we can crank out an insane amount of population. Now, in the early phases of these wars, we are going to start taking losses. We may even lose some cities. However, we're building an economy that is so powerful and so impossible to defeat that should anyone really try to stop us, I don't think it will be able to work. We're building an economy that can do world domination. Okay, I'm going to be buying units over here to protect Bucharest. In Kazan, I'm going to buy Katyusha rocket launchers to send south. In Hilo, I'll be buying dreadnoughts to move west, because we also want to protect this place here, Pangshan, because they're actually pretty useful to us. We need to protect our city-states, and the AI is very aggressive at attacking them. So we can get a militaristic attribute point. We can get a point towards ideology or hunter culture. I'm going to take the, or 1,000 culture rather. I'm going to take the militaristic attribute point. We could spend this on new levels on our military commanders, which is great. I'm going to take that. Parsa has all of its buildings that we need. So I'm thinking now is the time to start spamming Katyusha rocket launchers in preparation for the war with Benjamin Franklin. On the other side of things, there's a lot of cities here that are coastal that we could take with boats. So I'm going to start with 4 dreadnoughts and a fleet commander here to build a new fleet to take Ostia, Puteoli, Fécamp, Bayou, Hastings, sort of try to slowly dominate the coast. And in Kapa here, I'm going to do the same thing. But instead, I'm going to go cruisers plus fleet commander because they're a little bit cheaper. All right, this army commander here has leveled up. Let's grab area denial. So now we apply a zone of control. We'll take service. So my units have +1 movement range. Kill you. Fortify you so you're protected. This guy got a promotion. I'll give him mobility, although his goal is to stay in place. This fleet commander has leveled up. I don't think we need the sight range. I'm going to take weather gauge so the units can unpack. This fleet commander has leveled up. I'm going to take convoys so units in this radius have better embarked strength. Then we'll take command radius, so he's like providing protection for coastal trade in this area. Let's take recruitment in the army commander in Waknabal so that any army recruitment we do is faster. Basically, we're going to do the same thing over here and with you. Yeah, so now all of my army commanders are giving 5% yields and 15% production towards military, which is very strong. I'm going to park you here as a defensive unit. Let's embark this land ship to head towards Ardabil, and we're going to start moving our fleet to the east. So there's the Dogo Onsen. Beautiful. That's going to be really nice. Hamadan has grown. Let's keep growing to these nice coastal tiles. Respond to diplomatic action. I will accept that. J-Riz. Kou is ready to produce. I think I'm going to do a sort of similar thing where I crank out a few cruisers here with a fleet commander. I'm feeling the sort of stretch of not having enough military units. So I'm going to start producing 5 Cossacks in St. Petersburg, whose purpose will be to run around and protect our territory, basically acting as garrisons in a lot of these towns, as they will be very, very strong at defending. Bucharest is vulnerable to invasion. Shoot that army commander. Keep buying Katyusha rockets here so that we can long-range bombard from these 2 tiles will be the goal. Hilo needs to grow. I'm going to put the specialist on the production tile that we're planning on building in Hilo. We also need our rail station here. I'll just park it right there. That's fine. And then we'll make our production tile all good. Kusa has grown as well. Kapa has grown. We care more about production right now because we just need to get our production up. Once our production is up, we will be able to do a lot of work. So in back, we're going to start cranking out land ships. The higher base combat strength of land ships will help us over the Cossacks. Yes, I would like to build a cannery in the grocer. Right now, we need the combat units. We're a little bit light on combat units, so we just need a few more. Now I want to make my way to radio. The reason being that we want to make our way towards radio is because we're going to need the opera house for influence and the radio station for influence so that we can do a lot of war support manipulation. Waialuku, we need the cannery and the port in here. So let's start with the cannery. There's a +10 cannery right there. That's fine. Well, it's a +4 cannery. And then here's a +4 port right there. Excellent. That's all the buildings the city needs. You can make an argument for the city park to prevent penalties from being unhappy, but I think that's fine as it currently stands. Kalakmul got hit by a natural disaster, so we need to do some repairs in here. All right, we'll start bombing with our Katyusha rocket launcher here, hitting this enemy unit. I'm gonna need some more dreadnoughts, so I'll buy a few. I'll buy one over there. You're still good. Bucharest is safe as it currently stands. I'm a little bit worried about Lisbon when we get control of them. They're going to be in danger and we don't have the units in position to help them. I'm going to fire my Katyushas over here because the splash damage will be incredible. I'll bring my tanks back to hit the Marines. I would like to buy another... You know what? I'll buy another Katyusha. They're a little bit weaker than other units, but the splash damage is awesome. All right, my first Cossack is finished. This will help defend my empire. Let's get the field guns over here to start shooting. We'll get the land ships and the army commander moving north as our dreadnoughts make their way to Ardabil. If we can capture this city, that would be a pretty significant victory. I've got some dreadnoughts finishing up in Parsa. We'll be able to defend our river with these dreadnoughts. I'm really looking forward to that. I've got a military commander in position in Tarsus now. That's an extra 5% all yields and also 20% less happiness penalties. Bactria is going to need a defensive unit. So you can kind of see that I was getting all of my production infrastructure in place as soon as possible for the inevitable breakout of warfare. So there's absolutism. And this is one of the big moments here. It's hard to choose what to drop. I'm going to temporarily drop land heritage in exchange for scorched earth. We want that +5 combat strength for all units when attacking. That's going to give us a lot of combat power on the offensive. Move our army commander up. I'm going to deploy a Katusha rocket launcher right here. I'm going to shoot this guy. I have a Katusha here to shoot this guy. I'll use a Cossack to clear him out while I hit the enemy with some tanks. Kazan has grown. We want to grab the coal. The coal will make our light naval units stronger, also give us more production towards railway stations. So now that we have fascism, do we want to finish off our Russian civics? +1% total culture could allow us to get some of these things a little bit faster. The People's Army would be really good from nationalism. Brandenburg Gate would also be really good, so we might head up towards that. So I'm going to go nationalism, nationalism mastery, militarism. Units healing +10 HP is actually really strong as well. I'm going to hit this fleet commander with my dreadnought because by damaging the fleet commander, it'll actually do a little bit of the damage to the units inside it, I think. I can't remember if that's actually true, but I remember something about that. We're going to start firing Katusha rocket launchers onto these guys to get really good splash damage. We should be able to successfully kill at least some of these units. I can't protect Bucharest right now. I'm going to buy myself a dreadnought and I'm going to zip over here to kill this marine. Let's keep bombing over here to keep Jambi safe. I'm going to heal up this Cossack and we'll get our tanks to start hitting Baghdad. I'll get my tank up onto Ardabal's landmass. We will want to start taking this city out, and I'm moving out yet more dreadnoughts to support the siege of Ardabal and eventually Guangzhou and Kaifeng. If I can take these out, it'll provide me with a good base of operations in the sector. Priority number 1 is to break the defenses of Ardabal. If we can break the city, then that's good. This dreadnought I'm going to move up to bomb this landship. Bactria doesn't have any defenses, but that should be fine. I'm going to pull you back to bomb that landship as well. We need to protect this choke point here to keep Bactria from falling while we're still in the process of building up our army. Okay, let's take out this enemy ship of the line here. That will deal with that. Excellent. And you're going to heal while the Katusha rockets rain down over here. We want to absolutely pepper these guys in rockets to soften them up and kill them. I'll use my dreadnought to get rid of this marine as well. I'm going to start fortifying units around Pangsan to keep it safe as enemies had started to be a problem. Kahuili is under a siege. I'm going to buy myself a Cossack to protect the city. Annoyingly, it spawned on the military academy instead of the city tile, which means the city's going to get broken and taken, which is incredibly infuriating. I'm going to build a scout to try and prevent that from happening. That's really annoying. We need to clear out this tank as it's getting too deep into our territory. We need to kill you. We're going to need tanks and Katushas to go up against America. I can railway my Katusha rocket launcher over here. Let's get a Cossack into St. Petersburg. I will deploy this Katusha. I'll get a Cossack into Kusa to protect it. You've taken some damage, which is frustrating. This is volcano related damage, not actual damage. Bomb Baghdad. Retreat with these tanks because stupid volcano hurt you. Let's make sure we clear the defenses around Ardabil, then bring our tank in to try to clear it. And hopefully that will work. Right, perfect. We got Ardabil. We're going to keep this settlement. It's actually not a bad settlement in its location and land and stuff like that. Probably going to go for non-Helema's town next turn. And I will send my dreadnoughts to the south to start clearing out these Chinese cities. There's an oil here that'll help us as well. I'll be so mad when Kai Huli gets captured. Well, it looks like we got away with it, actually. Katusha rocket launcher was killed over here because it was poorly positioned. I'm going to pull this tank back to heal. This tank is being pulled back to heal. I'll move this infantry forward to fortify on the tile. I will deploy a Katusha behind and the field gun behind. Otherwise, we'll sit in place. Iwa has grown. We don't have any production tiles in here, so we're going to focus on food. Parsa has grown. There's a really nice gold here, but I do think the happiness is actually really quite good because it's going to prevent us from taking happiness penalties in here. Astrakhan has grown as well. We'll keep just growing you. You will be a fishing town when the time comes, but unfortunately we can't afford to spend money on you. Lisbon has been suzerained. We're going to take branch office here for the crazy amount of gold. and we're going to help them bolster their military. We need them to have units. Okay, Pangsan is now protected. Fortify here, fortify here, fortify here. I've got 4 military units protecting it. I'm protecting Kazan. Jambi is safe. Use our Katyushas to clear out some of these units, killing off some of this stuff. Perfect. Army routed. Rostov-on-Don has a specialization. We don't necessarily care about that. Kahuli, I'm going to go ahead and get a second Cossack to protect this land. Get that Cossack to fortify in there. I'm going to use my cruiser to kill these Marines. Let's see if we can't kill this fleet commander to pop out all of his units. They were damaged. Excellent. We killed another boat. Slowly but surely we're getting a strategic advantage over our opponents. Let's move these cruisers up to support the naval push north. Damage that Marine. Move you forward. Get the Katyusha into position to start raining down rockets. There's a Marine inside my territory here. Let's block his path with a tank and then hit him. Let's send a Cossack to protect back. This Katyusha, there's a rail station here that we can use, so we'll get you adjacent to it. We'll get the Cossack into Kusa to protect. You need to pull back because there's too many boats. Bomb this guy. Bomb Diggity. Let's take out this Catherine Dreadnought. Swap these 2 ships so we can move forward to begin bombing Nohalima's town. I'm going to get this Dreadnought to heal up because he's hurt. And otherwise, we're looking okay. Move into Kaifeng. That's going to be our next target. So we're not quite at the point now where we're transitioning into full military unit production. We are getting closer, however. Not quite there, but we're getting closer. We're defending this city pretty well. Xerxes is begging me for peace, but we refuse. We've unlocked urbanization. This is going to give us access to the department store, which is a happiness building. The opera house, which is an influence building. Really important for war support. We're going to need as much of that as we can get. And also settlement limit, which is also a happiness boost. Until we're 7 over the limit, then it's no longer a happiness boost. Coming into Tarsus, there's a production tile right here. I'll get that +5 production. City is perfectly happy. Ko is ready to grow. I'll grow to that food tile for now. Then in Timothy's house, we'll keep growing you as well. We can choose a technology. I'm going to go for mastery of urbanization for the production on clay pits and quarries. Kusa is in unrest because some of its buildings got damaged. Nothing else needs to be rebuilt. I need some military units from you, Kusa, so I'm going to go ahead and queue up 4 dreadnoughts and a fleet commander. That'll keep him busy for a very long time. I'm going to fortify my Katyusha rocket launcher beside Pangsan. I'm going to move this dreadnought to protect this tile. My goal is to surround this city with like 3 field cannons, 2 Katyushas and a dreadnought so that the AI can't clear this on me. My ships are starting to get a little bit damaged in the fight in the waters near Wailuku, but we have cleared out a lot of the enemy. Bring in this cruiser on the enemy Marines. Cossack here. Let's clear out this Marine again. My Cossacks have a lot of combat strength. They're very, very powerful. In order to protect this town, I'm going to buy a defensive fortification, which should give it more health and stuff. Let's keep pushing dreadnoughts and cruisers forward here towards Ostia. This one's hurt, but we can't afford to stop shooting the massive flow of Marines coming forward. We'll keep Katyusha rocketing them as well. They're not the strongest unit, the Katyusha rockets, but I think the fact that they have 3 range, they have splash damage, it's all really, really great. All right, let's use railways to transport this other Katyusha rocket launcher over to the western front. We're probably going to be attacking America next. Hagmatana needs like a rail station too. It's all squirrely. We're just going to take our time pushing through this gap. We're still focused mostly on leveling up. Just taking our time to push through here. Get the scout out of here, running through my territory. Rifle infantry was killed by a field gun that was up north. We don't care about demagogy. +1 settlement limit is nice for happiness. We get to choose a bonus here. I don't think we need Taj Mahal. I'd rather just go for militarism. +10 heal on our units means they have a lot less downtime, so that appeals to me a lot. Tarsus needs to get its sawmill and its grist mill. My goodness. Right, sawmill, grist mill, or I did those in a different order, but yeah, we need to build up a lot of productivity in here. Wait, the only place we could build a sawmill and the grist mill is on the high adjacency tile. That's actually fine. I think that's still worth it. We'll queue up our production and gold buildings. I'm also going to build an opera house right here so that we can get this +2 adjacency tile online for the production buildings. So Tarsus will be busy for a while, but that's fine. St. Petersburg has pretty much completed building everything it needs. However, we would like to build the opera house. And the reason we want to build the opera house is because we want that influence more than anything. So we're going to park an opera house right. I don't think it matters too much. So Opera House right here. +3 influence per turn is really strong. All right, we got another Cossack. Let's send this one to Tarsus to protect it. Chase down this Marine. Keep moving our tanks forward. We will need some more army commanders. For now, though, they're focused on helping us sim, because I don't think having army commanders on the front line would make a big difference right now because they're not leveled. Bring our dreadnought up. Bring the cruiser up. We can start peppering Ostia. Should be very easy for us to capture Ostia. I'm going to get these ships to heal up outside Wailuku, and we shall begin bombarding enemies over here. All right, clear out that Marine. Kahuli is in danger. We still have some Katyushas here. Katyusha, this guy. Unfortunately, Bucharest is going to get hit, I believe, and taken out, which is very annoying. All right, non-Helemis town will start getting bombarded. I'll bring another dreadnought up north. Kaifeng will start getting bombarded now, taking our time while we clear these out. I don't even know how this sepoy got in here, but he's dead now. His army commander leveled up. We're going to go for ignoring terrain movement restrictions. I'll move my rifle infantry forward a tile. Deploy a Katyusha rocket launcher on the same tile. The push on Baghdad is not as important as it was before. Slowly but surely, we're 40 turns into the age, and we're going to start seeing serious kills here. So urbanization specialization is completed. That's going to get us production on clay pits and quarries, as well as access to the modern bridge. The modern bridge isn't particularly important. I will take the extra science because my culture is really strong. We definitely want aerodromes if we can get them, but I actually think radio is more important. We need the influence. Our influence is already down to 54 from capturing cities. That's a problem. I'm going to place a specialist in Wailuku to keep getting the production vortex going. Bactria has grown. This is a town. Keep on growing, good sir. Bak has finished its plans, built a bunch of tanks. Would love for you to get me an army commander to send to the front line, so I'll get you to get that. Hilo. Again, I really wish I could mark some of these buildings as unnecessary. The two buildings that I want in Hilo are, well, technically I would like a department store. I don't need it. But I definitely want the Opera House. Again, influence is really strong for military reasons. The port is really good for connecting up my empire. And the gold per turn is really strong as well. The problem I'm going to run into here is I'm actually going to run out of happiness if I keep building these buildings. And I do want to build both of these. I also want the department store, but I also need military units, right? But I'm going to get the department store to start with. And there's a +6 department store over here. So I'll put that right there. I say +6. It's, you know, you should know what I mean. Put a new specialist down. So once that department store is placed, I'm going to build a port right here. There's a 9 gold port. I will get myself an opera house on the same tile as the department store. Excellent. So a few turns, the city will be finished building. St. Petersburg has plenty of happiness, so we don't need the department store in here. We don't need the museum, and we don't need the schoolhouse, so we can move on to producing our main offensive unit, which is the land ship. So I'm going to produce 4 land ships plus an army commander. Keep you busy. Bactria has grown. I've got 3,000 gold in the bank. Now, Wak Nabal is quote-unquote complete, although we could build some Obshinas. Like, how good are they? You know what I mean? These just don't feel like it's worth it to build them in rural towns. In Rostov-on-Don, this is really just a growth town. So I'm going to get myself the grocer. I will get a port to connect this city. And then I'm just going to build a stonecutter to get the city a little bit of production. But aside from that, pretty soon it'll be turned into a fishing town. Wak Nabal is now also factory capable. And in my opinion, the most powerful factory resource in the game currently as it stands is fish. So we're going to fill Wak Nabal with fish and whales. Because this is now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're nearly doubling the growth rate in our empire, which means we are churning out population. All right, let's kill this field gun. I need to get my Katyushas into position to protect and defend Bucharest. No peace for anyone, dude. You guys don't get peace. You don't deserve peace. La Hyena has grown and will continue to grow to these tiles. Probably should consider turning this into a fishing town soon. Kalakmul has grown. Excellent. A lot of my cities and towns will start cranking out crazy population, which is the goal. The goal is to crank. I don't even remember which tile in this city is the production tile. I guess it doesn't matter. Just stick them down anywhere. Okay, Rostov-on-Don is fully grown. We're going to switch it over to a fishing town. So now Rostov-on-Don is sharing its food to a whole bunch of other cities while also producing me with a little bit of gold per turn, some culture and some science. So really good support city. Or a really good support town, just doing its job. Hamadan, sort of similar. It's growing nicely. It'll never be more than a fishing town, but we'll keep growing it. Ardbil Yeah, just keep grabbing tiles. I have my fleet commander in Parsa now, which is great because he should start with a free level up. I'm going to go for naval artillery to give my naval units combat strength when attacking fortified districts. Now, Parsa has a few buildings that it needs. Mostly, we need the Opera House. So I'm going to take the Opera House for the extra influence. You can see here our accumulated influence is getting pretty bad. I would love to develop Calicmul. I mean, it has a lot of production, so it could also be a city. It would take a long time to get it up and running as a city, which maybe points me in the direction of turning it into a specialized town if we just buy a few of these buildings in here. So that should be Ostia dead, and we'll be able to capture it next turn. Let's start firing our Katyushas in here. I love how efficient the damage is on the Katyusha. Let's pillage with for health for you. Non-Halima's town should be ours this turn. Amazing. We will be keeping that settlement. The UI has gone a little crazy on that one with these things floating out to the side. This fleet commander has leveled up. Let's go for salvo, so we kill other naval units much easier. Kai Feng is falling. Slowly but surely, we are getting closer and closer to gearing up for proper warfare. And you might be saying, like, what do you mean proper warfare? You've been at war this whole time. No. This has been the prelude to war. This has been the warm-up. I am going to drown the world in aircraft and rockets. No peace for the wicked, only warfare. All right, let's start firing on Ostia with our Katyushas. Let's see if we can kill this landship. Oh, I should bring my fleet commander up to gather the experience. Ostia will be mine. There's our first milestone progress towards the military legacy path. Let's bombard this landship here. Let's see if we can't get that kill. We'll embark you, move you up. Excellent. Astrakhan has grown. Only a few more pops in here, and then this city will reach its full potential. Speaking of full potential, I mean, we definitely want the grocer. We definitely want the port. We'll get you a nice port, and then I might build you a rail station. All right, let's have a look at Hagmatana. Keep building that. We will be keeping Ostia as a settlement. Give me a nice flank attack on this guy. Beautiful. Bak has finished its factory as well, so we can start to plug in some good stuff in here. I'm going to go with cotton. 5 cotton here will get me 25% production towards land military units, which is really nice. All right, I'm going to scoop up this rifle infantry for safety, move a land ship over, shoot you, Katyusha you, then we'll Katyusha you. And that's a wrap. That will also get us a promotion on this army commander, which is excellent. And we can grab the zone of control buff. I'm going to get the command radius range boost so that more of my units can ignore terrain movement restrictions. It's going to increase the mobility of my army significantly. Deposit ourselves a little field gun here. I'd like to come up here and clean out Falaise. It's actually very poorly settled. What I might do, I wish I could migrate the city, because if this city was here, it would be incredible. But where it stands now sucks. Right, we're going to grab Kai Feng next. Awesome. Another settlement in our empire. It'll take a while before that's fully in there, but that's okay. Bucharest is now protected by a trio of Katyusha rocket batteries. Calicmul, or rather, Kahuli is getting hit by Marines, but we do have some Cossacks to protect, which is really nice. You can see how bad our accumulated influence is starting to get now that we've started to world domination it. Waialuku has grown. Mostly we have growth tiles to grow to. I'm trying to remember where I built my... Okay, so that was where I built the military academy. I'll stick some down there. Jay Riz seems really chill with us. I don't know what his ideology is, but he's like down with you know, what I'm doing. All right, so we've taken Ostia. I think we're going to take our fleet over here. We need to hit Fay Camp, Bayou, Hastings. Basically, we want to capture all these islands. These islands are going to be really useful for us. They're going to provide us with a lot of benefits, in particular when we're feeding our towns and our cities and all that sort of stuff. I'll put a tank into Ostia to protect it for now. I'm going to move our other tanks and Katyusha rockets forward. All right, we've got a really nice fleet here preparing for invasion. I've even got a backup dreadnought that's on his way to assist with this island domination. Once we have control of the islands, it'll be much easier to invade other areas. We need to Katyusha these nerds, scoop up this, bring a tank over there, pillage to heal. We will eventually attack Baghdad with these dreadnoughts, but it's just going to take time. In fact, I might come over here so that we can clear out Persia, so Persia can't do any negative war support against us. Make sure we shoot this field cannon that's roaming around out there. All right, let's move our Katyushas into a more safe position. We'll bring our tank over here to fortify and protect. I've got a Cossack in Tarsus to protect it against any errant or stray units. Okay, there's militarism. +10 healing is huge. So we definitely want to plug that in. Electricity is nice too. The stock exchange is the main thing we want. We don't actually need that much science. We need the gold, however, to sustain our military. So I need the plus 10 heal. What can I lose? Let me have a look. When's our next celebration? 15 turns left. Oh, I think we just got a celebration. So let's go for plus 3 combat strength to make our unit stronger. Then I can plug in material. We'll heal. Let's get to work on radio. Hilo, you have grown. Food in there. Specialist, awesome. A bunch of my towns have grown. Here's another fish that we can add to our factory network. I'll drop a whales out of Waknabal. There's your fish. Parsa, I'll stick some coffee in Parsa. Speaking of Parsa, Parsa needs a few buildings built. It has a little bit of a happiness penalty, so the department store would be great. I'll put it right here beside the cannery. That's a... Oh, no, actually, I want to put it right here because it gets adjacency from this. This army commander is going to be sent up towards Ostia. Where did I build my railway in this town? I have genuinely no idea. Okay, Bach has a few buildings that it needs. It needs the cannery. It doesn't need the department store. We need the opera house, and we would like the stock exchange. Right, let's get the stock exchange and the cannery on the same tile. That's going to hurt our happiness, which means we will need a department store. I'll take a plus 8 department store over there. We're then going to want an opera house for the influence. All right, awesome. Bunch of things got planted down there. Militarism has been completed. We would like to get the Brandenburg Gate. Plus 5 happiness and conquered settlements is really quite useful. Yeah, Timothy's house. All right, we're attacking Lugdunum. We should start to see its defenses come down. We've already taken one of the districts. Kapa is in a little bit of danger, so I'm going to buy a Cossack to protect it. All right, let's rain down Katusha rockets on our enemies. Soften them up. You fortify Mr. Tank. We're feeling pretty good. I would like a rail station in Bactria so that I could get troops to the front line sooner. And then also similarly in Ostia. But that's going to take a little bit of doing. Note to self, always try to build the railway station beside the military academy so the unit comes out capable of being bounced by the rail station. It's actually a really good thing. Iwa has grown. We'll keep growing to these nice growth tiles. La Hyena has grown. I wanted a railroad up in Bactria, so let me grab that now. Right there is fine. So we'll be able to bounce tanks over there pretty easily. Hilo has grown again. I'll take that production tile right there. Bactria has grown because we put a population down on one of the tiles it was using. Okay. Kapa, oh my god, Kapa, you are just growing. So much growth. I don't think there's a whole lot of thought that needs to be put into some of these growth decisions. All right, we need to wipe out these American troops on our islands here. Let's bring our fleet commander over, and we'll use cruisers to take out this ship of the line real quick. We'll actually get you a promotion. I will take the reciprocal damage when defending against ranged attacks. Perfect. Okay. And then we'll move in with our dreadnoughts on Fey Camp. Now, I think this is the perfect time to leave off before the true war begins. We're 50 turns into the age. We're about to research radio. Then we're going to move into flight, where the real war will begin when we have combined arms. We're starting, like, do not be surprised how quickly the enemy falls in the next episode. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!